Good day to my fellow students and to everyone who's watching. I'm Jerome, a first year student studying Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering. Today, I myself and my fellow group will present and discuss with you the topics under the concept of unpacking the self, which involves dissecting the various layers that make us who we are, examining our beliefs, values, and experiences, where in this case, we will be focusing on a specific aspect of self-identity, and these are the physical and sexual self. So, what is physical self? Physical self is a tangible and visible part of who you are. It means it refers to your body, since your physical self is the external, the tangible representation of you that the world interacts with, and it often plays a role in first impressions and how people perceive you. However, it's just one layer of your complete self, which includes your emotions, thoughts, values, and experiences. Next, it is the crucial aspect of self in one's physical features, such as one's face, body structures, height, weight, and fitness, and also a fundamental part of your identity and how you navigate life. For example, you're meeting someone for the first time at a social event. Your physical self is the part of you that this new acquaintance can immediately observe. It's your height, it's your hair, the color of your eyes, and the clothes you've chosen to wear. In this situation, your physical self serves as the initial impression others have of you. It's the part of you that's immediately visible, and it can influence the perception of you before they get to know your personality, your thoughts, or your feelings. Then, physical efficiency generally peaks in early adulthood and declines into the middle age. And if you're wondering why, this will be explained through the stages of lifespan, outlined by Elizabeth P. Harlock. Because according to her, there are 10 stages of lifespan. And there, if we will base on it, during the infancy, the physical efficiency of it will closely tied to the development of motor skills. And during early childhood, the physical efficiency continues to improve. And then middle childhood, its physical efficiency will be characterized by the acquisition of a wider range of motor skills. And to the adolescence, which will experience significant growth and changes of muscle mass, which can greatly impact physical efficiency. And then when you reach adulthood, where they typically reach their peak of physical efficiency, since they have the energy and vitality to engage in various physical activities and sport. While in your middle adulthood, they may be changes in physical efficiency, but still you can still maintain a healthy lifestyle. Yet during the late adulthood, the physical efficiency really declines due to age, but it's still possible to maintain a good level of physical function during regular exercise though. And yeah, that's explained why physical efficiency is generally peaks in early adulthood and declines in the middle age. Now, there are also factors affecting growth and development. First is the nature. The behavior traits can be explained by genetics. This will be discussed later on. It's about the biological blueprint. And the next one is the nurture. Behavior is learned and shaped through interaction or the environmental conditioning. So under the biological blueprint or the nature, physical self is not only limited to what we can directly see by the naked eye, because underneath our skin is a dynamic system of biological and chemical processes that contribute to our physical features. And by genetic transformation and biological development, our physical characteristics are embodied in the concept of heredity. But what is heredity? Heredity is the biological process of transmission of traits from parents to offspring. The sex and other physical traits are determined by the combination of chromosomes and genes during fertilization. So, if you remember, chromosomes consist of 23 pairs, and there are two types of chromosomes. The autosomes, or the gene chromosomes, consist of 23 pairs, and the sex chromosomes, the X and Y chromosomes. Then genes, which is the carriers of hereditary traits, and it was classified into two, the dominant and recessive, where the dominant is a strong genes expressed form of the trait, and the recessive is the weak genes that is not expressed when the dominant trait is present. So for this, the biological blueprint or genetic makeup plays a significant role in shaping the growth and development of your physical self. It's like the instruction manual that guides the construction of your body. This genetic code is inherited from your parents and contains the information that determines your physical characteristics, such as your height, eye color, bone structure, and susceptibility to certain health condition. For example, if your parents are being tall, there's a strong likelihood that you'll be also have genes for greater height. Conversely, if your family has a history of a particular medical condition, you may inherit genes that increase your risk of developing that condition. So, while genetics, the foundation for your physical self, it's important to note that we have also the environmental factor. And the environmental factors refers to which the individual is exposed after conception to death, which includes learning and experiences. Like family, being our first social group, form a crucial foundation of our development, including that of our physical self, like diet, nutrition, and this play an important role in physical development, right? Then, with that, we need to achieve early physical well-being. So we have here four ways how to achieve physical well-being. First one is healthy eating. We need to have the right combination of food to ensure our health and sustain it. Number two, embrace a healthy lifestyle, avoiding drinking, smoking, and other unhealthy habits that would reduce the risk of illness and diseases and make your immune system stronger. The next is having the right hygiene, taking care of your body by maintaining hygiene. Really, gymming can also help in making us feel good about yourself, perform confidence in yourself, in our best makeup. Being secure in ourselves, embracing a positive outlook toward our situations and problems, and loving and accepting who we are will surely result in an optimal physical well-being. So that's it for the physical self. Now let's move on to the sexual self that will be discussed by Jovan, Prudente, and Mabelle Caunga.
So the next topic on lesson 9 is all about the sexual self. So why do we need to discuss what is sexual self? So it is for us to understand the way that our own sexuality works is critical to having a clear self-awareness of an understanding of how we participate in the world. So first, let us discuss what is sexuality. So there are means through which is sexuality is experienced from childhood to old age by means of body, through roles in life, by means of belief and through relationship. Sexuality is also about your sexual feelings, thoughts, attractions, and behavior towards other people. You can find other people physically, sexually, or emotionally attractive, and all of these things are part of your sexuality. Sexuality is diverse and personal, and it is an important part of who you are. There are four sexual concepts introduced in this lesson. So first is gender identity. It is in the mind, what is inside us, and it is how we feel about our own gender. Sexual orientation is to whom you are sexually attracted to. So, sexual identity and sexual orientation is a term used to describe the sex of a person or people you are attracted to in a sexual or romantic way. Most people became aware of their sexual orientation when they reach puberty, but it is possible for these feelings to change over time or never appear at all. The third sexual concept is the gender expression. So, gender expression or gender presentation is a person's behavior, mannerisms, interests, and appearance that are socially associated with gender, namely femininity and masculinity. The example of this is how you move and what you wear. So the last or the fourth is biological sex. Depends on hormones and genitalia, one's assignment upon birth, and is dependent on physical feature. So, sexual orientation is a dynamic spectrum and may change through time. It pertains to the genders you're sexually attracted to and want to have relationship with. Sexual orientation include gay, lesbian, straight, bisexual, and asexual. There are also various experiences that we could not use to determine one gender. So these include clothing and gestures may not show the gender of a person. Example of this is among lesbians, there are those who are more masculine in action and clothing. There are those who are feminine but are attracted to the same sex. But regardless of sexual orientation and gender identity, everybody wants to be happy because there are things that we are afraid to. So everybody desires to be happy in terms of happiness in their relationship, good relations, and loving each other. Next is happiness from physical and sexual relationship, and there is achieving lust, satisfaction, and orgasm. And lastly is to free from disease, sexually transmitted disease, and HIV/AIDS, acceptance and respect from their society, and productive lives, industry, life direction, and contribution to the society.
Then, there are four areas of sexuality. First is the physical, second is the emotional, third is the psychological, and fourth is the spiritual, which these four are all interconnected.
Here are things to prevent, to avoid, and to fight against discrimination. So first is we must keep from and fight against treating a person as a sex object. There should be zero tolerance against sex discrimination and sex abuse. There are different forms of discrimination and abuse according to gender. Example is demeaning behavior, ignoring the existence, slurs and jokes, whistling and green jokes. Discrimination in the workplace, insults, causing physical injury, rape, and molestation. So the next topic in this lesson is all about the body, sexuality, and the self. So first is the focus on the body. A vital aspect of one's identity is the sexual, encompassing biological, physical, emotional, and social domains. Initially rooted in the distinguishing physical attributes found in men, penis, and women, which is the vagina. Bodily transformations and development of secondary sexual characteristics during adolescence would eventually trigger physiological response, leading to beliefs and behaviors associated with sex. This is the biology of sex. At birth, sex is a biological feature that distinguishes males from females. External genitals, which is penis for male and vagina for females. The secondary sexual characteristics are the observable changes in the human body that begin during puberty and adolescence. Release of hormones, testosterone for males and estrogen for females, trigger the physiological changes in the reproductive system. This stage, males and females are capable of procreation. Males are capable of producing sperm while females begin producing eggs. When physiological changes are triggered within individual's reproductive system, an adolescent is likely to experience sexual urges, to become more sensitive to sexual stimuli, and feel sexual urges, became more sensitive to sexual stimuli and feel sexual arousal. The sensation are part of sexual response cycle, which includes four phases: excitement, plateau, orgasm, and resolution. Completing the cycle would lead to sexual satisfaction. Next is sexual identity and gender orientation. So biological sex is one assignment upon birth and is dependent of physical features the person has. Gender is an identity that is learned and embraced by the individual. Gender roles are societal expectation of how men and women should act. Everyone has a basic idea of how men and women should act and behave. A person may have been born a man but assume womanly traits, while a woman may behave like a man. This is an aspect of sexual orientation. One's sexual orientation manifests itself in the relationship. Example of this is heterosexual and homosexual. So, sexual self, the consequences of sexual choice. Sexual intercourse or copulation is the reproductive act in which the male organ or the penis enters the female reproductive tract, which is the vagina. Adolescent couples who engage in sexual intercourse are usually overwhelmed by the sensations they feel during the act. If the woman is fertile during the time of intercourse, pregnancy is likely to occur, and it lasts approximately 9 months before the birth of the child. Having a child entails a big responsibility and should not merely be a consequence of an impulsive moment. Physical risks to having an early pregnancy may impact an adolescent development, including miscarriage, emotional stress, and health risks to both mother and infant. Another consequence of impulsive and careless sexual intercourse is the risk of acquiring sexually transmitted disease or STDs. Among common STDs are syphilis, gonorrhea, chlamydia, and genital warts. The most alarming sexually transmitted disease is the acquired immune deficiency syndrome, which is the AIDS, and caused by the human immunodeficiency virus or HIV. It can be transmitted by contact between broken skin, wounds, or mucous membranes, and HIV infected blood or blood contaminated body fluids. So it is important that everyone makes responsible decision with regard to sexuality and sexual behavior. Responsible sexual behavior entails the following. First, respect for one's body. It means taking care of one's body and avoiding activities that undermine one's worth and respect. Second, maturity in thoughts and deeds. It refers to being objective, rational, and calm, instead of being swept by one's emotion. Third is being guided by one's personal belief and core values. Everyone, especially an adolescent, should always be grounded by his or her personal principle and self-worth. And lastly, being future-oriented. Instead of focusing on the present, a person should always weigh his or her present action with possible consequences in the future. In today's generation, people are also having a hard time in achieving their own definition of beautiful face and body because of the high standard of society, which leads to obsession to have a beautiful face and body. One example of this is the tragedy of Michael Jackson, which is an endless survey to alter the face. Next is the demand for cosmetic surgery, skin whiteners, and etc. Next is the eating disorders such as anorexia nervosa and bulimia. And lastly, the malnutrition among young women due to improper way of dieting.
With that, we have the golden ratio
or the perfect face. It is rather impossible to achieve the golden ratio, but people still vie for it. Some are not satisfied with the way their parents look like and are attracted to more beautiful people. Contrast effect is what we call that. And then beauty is the eyes of the beholder. True, but if I could afford to have a good looking partner, why not? It is but a big challenge to us educator and parents to indicate inside than outside. Plump, skinny, just right, sexy, or chubby, as long as the fashion industry dictates what is beautiful, be it for men or women. Youth can never be satisfied with their bodies. In result, we have this body art and statue symbol, the then and now. Practice tattooing, scarification, piercing, and body painting.
So the next topic in this lesson is we will going to introduce to you the 46 terms that describe sexual attraction, behavior, and orientation. First, our number one is allosexual. Allosexual is someone who experiences sexual attraction. Alloxism refers to norms, stereotypes, and practices in society that operate under the assumption that all human beings experience or should experience sexual attraction. Number two, androsexual. Sexually attracted to men, males, or masculinity. Third, or number three, asexual. Person who experiences little to no sexual attraction, sometimes shortened as ace. Number four, aromantic. Someone who experiences little to no romantic attraction, regardless of sex or gender, sometimes shortened as aro. Number five, autosexual. A person who is sexually attracted to themselves. Number six, autoromantic. A romantic orientation that describes a person who is romantically attracted to themselves. Number seven, bicurious. A curiosity about having sexual relations with a person whose sex or gender differs from that of one's usual sexual partners. Curious about exploring bisexuality. Number eight, bisexual. A sexual orientation that describes those who experience sexual, romantic, or emotional attractions to people of more than one gender, also referred to as bi. Bisexual typically includes individuals who are attracted to a variety of people with genders that are similar to and different than their own. Number 9, biromantic. A person who is romantically attracted to two or more sexes or genders. Number 10, closeted, also referred to as in the closet. Describe people in the LGBTQ+. A. Community who don't publicly or openly share their sexual identity, sexual attraction, sexual behavior, gender expression, or gender identity. The metaphorical hidden or private place for LGBTQ plus A person came from in the process of making decision about disclosing gender and sexuality. Some individuals may be out in certain communities but closeted in others due to fear of discrimination, mistreatment, rejection, or violence.
So now we are going to tackle about coming out. It is a term used when someone shares their sexual orientation or gender identity with others. It's a personal and often courageous step that many individuals take. Coming out can happen in various ways and situations. Coming out isn't limited to just sexual orientation. It can also include revealing one's gender identity. For example, someone might come out as a transgender or non-binary. People choose to come out for various reasons. One common reason is to be true to themselves and live authentically. It can also help them feel accepted and supported by their loved ones, and additionally raises awareness and promotes understanding about different sexual orientation and gender identities. But of course, unfortunately, not everyone's coming out experience is positive. Some people face rejection or lack of understanding from their families or friends.
In such cases, it is important for them to find support from other sources like supportive friends, LGBTQ communities, or helplines. So, coming out is a deeply personal journey. It's about embracing one's identity, being honest, and seeking acceptance and understanding from those around you. It's a significant step toward living an authentic and fulfilling life.
So next, we are going to learn about a term called copiosexual. Copiosexual is a sexual orientation that falls within the asexual spectrum. It describes individuals who don't experience sexual attraction to others but still desire or are open to being in a sexual relationship. In other words, they may not feel the initial spark of sexual attraction, but they are willing to engage in sexual activities for various reasons. Asexuality is a spectrum, and copiosexual individuals fall under this umbrella. Asexuality is about not experiencing sexual attraction, while copiosexuality describes the willingness or desire to engage in sexual activities despite the lack of initial sexual attraction. So, for example, there's one person identifies as copiosexual. Despite not feeling sexual attraction toward others, he or she is open to the idea of being in a sexual relationship. For her or him, the decision to engage in sexual activities might be based on emotional connection, intimacy, or the desire to fulfill a partner's need, even though the initial sexual attraction is absent. So basically, it's more about the emotional connection than the physical attraction. Copiosexuality often revolves around emotional intimacy, trust, and the willingness to engage in sexual activities for the well-being of the relationship or the partner, even if the primary sexual attraction isn't important or isn't present, rather. Understanding copiosexuality reminds us that people's experiences of attraction and relationship can vary widely. Being aware of these different orientations promotes empathy, inclusivity, and a more accepting environment for everyone, regardless of their sexual identity. So next is demisexuality. Demisexuality is a sexual orientation where individuals do not experience sexual attraction to others unless they have a strong emotional connection or bond with the person first. In other words, demisexual people need to form a deep emotional relationship before feeling any sexual attraction. So, demisexual individuals may still recognize someone's physical appearance but won't feel a sexual attraction to them until they have formed a close emotional bond. So, if someone is identified as demisexual, they might meet someone new and recognize that the person is good looking, but they won't feel any sexual attraction until they have spent a considerable amount of time together, getting to know the person on a deeper emotional level. So for them, forming a strong emotional bond is a prerequisite for feeling any sexual attraction. Demisexuality also emphasizes the significance of emotional intimacy in the experience of sexual attraction. Unlike some other sexual orientations, demisexual individuals need that emotional connection as the foundation for their sexual feelings. So let's now talk about demiromantic. Demiromantic is a romantic orientation where individuals do not experience romantic attraction to others unless they have formed a strong emotional or deep bond with the person first. So, in other words, demi-romantic people need to establish a close emotional connection before feeling any romantic attraction. Demi-romantic individuals may still form close friendships and appreciate people's qualities, but they won't feel a romantic attraction until they have developed a strong emotional bond. So, demi-romantic individuals experience romantic attraction only after forming an emotional bond or connection with someone. While in demisexual individuals, they might experience sexual attraction only after forming a deep emotional connection with someone. To sum it up, demi-romantic is about developing romantic feelings after a deep emotional connection, and demisexual is about feeling sexual attraction under the same circumstances. So, demi-romantics relates to the development of romantic feelings, whereas demisexuality pertains to the experience of sexual attraction. Both orientations emphasize the importance of emotional intimacy and connection in forming romantic or sexual relationships, highlighting the diverse ways in which people experience attraction. Fluid. When we say someone identifies as fluid, it means their sexual orientation or gender identity is not fixed and may change over time. People who identify as fluid might experience changes in who they are attracted to or how they perceive their own gender. So, when someone identifies as fluid in terms of sexual orientation, it means their attraction can change. For instance, someone might identify as bisexual, experiencing attraction to both men and women. Over time, their attraction might shift, leading them to identify as pansexual, where gender doesn't play a significant role in their attraction. So, fluidity emphasizes that our understanding of our sexual orientation or gender identity can evolve. It reminds us that these aspects of our identities can be complex and can change as we learn more about ourselves and the world around us. So, now, let's talk about the term gay. When someone identifies as gay, it means they are primarily attracted to people of the same gender. In other words, a gay person is man who is romantically and or sexually attracted to other men, or a woman who is attracted to other women. So being gay does not make someone fundamentally different from others. People of all sexual orientations, including gay individuals, have diverse interests, talents, and personalities, just like everyone else. And there are also gay people in history who made a significant contribution. Throughout history, there have been many prominent figures who identified as gay and made significant contribution in various fields. For example, Alan Turing, a brilliant mathematician and computer scientist, was gay. His work during World War II played a crucial role in breaking German codes, contributing significantly to the Allied victory. So, being gay is just one aspect of a person's identity. It's important to recognize and respect people's sexual orientations just as we do with any other characteristic. So, next, let's talk about gray sexual. Gray sexual falls under the asexual spectrum and describes individuals who experience sexual attraction infrequently, rarely, or under specific circumstances. It's important to note that gray sexuality is a broad and diverse orientation, and people who identify as gray sexual may have different experiences and levels of sexual attraction. So, gray sexual individuals might occasionally experience sexual attraction, but it happens less frequently or under specific conditions compared to allosexual individuals who experience sexual attraction more regularly. So, basically, it's about infrequent or specific situations for them. They emphasizes that sexual attraction, when it occurs, might be limited to specific circumstances or relationship. Gay sexual individuals might not feel the same level of sexual attraction as others in the majority of situations. So, gray romantic is also about rare romantic attractions, just like gray sexual. Gray romanticism pertains to rare romantic attraction, while gray sexuality refers to infrequent sexual attractions, but both orientation highlight the diversity of human experiences, emphasizing that attraction can vary widely among individuals. Next, gynecosexual, also known as gynephilic, is a sexual orientation that refers to individuals who experience attraction towards femininity regardless of the person's gender identity. This means that gynecosexual individuals are primarily attracted to femininity itself rather than being exclusively attracted to a specific gender. So, let's consider one person, a gynecosexual person, may feel attracted to individuals who possess traits that are typically associated with femininity, such as softness, nurturing qualities, or curvaceous body features. However, this attraction is not limited to people who identify as women. They might be attracted to someone who is cisgender woman, a transgender woman, or a non-binary person who exhibits femininity. The key aspect of gynecosexuality is the attraction to femininity rather than a specific gender identity. It is important to note that gynecosexuality sits within the broader spectrum of sexual orientation, which encompasses various identities, including heterosexual, homosexual, bisexual, and others. Gynecosexuality provides a way for individuals who are attracted to femininity to express their sexual orientation outside of the traditional gender binary. In conclusion, gynecosexuality refers to a sexual orientation where individuals are attracted primarily to femininity, irrespective of the gender identity of the person. Heterosexuality is a sexual orientation in which individuals are primarily attracted to people of the opposite sex. It is commonly referred to as being straight. So, to illustrate this, let's consider a hypothetical example. Imagine that we have two individuals named Anna and Jamie. Anna is a heterosexual person who is attracted to individuals of the opposite sex, while Jamie is a homosexual person who is attracted to individuals of the same sex. In this scenario, Anna would experience romantic or sexual attraction towards someone of the opposite sex, which is a man. Meanwhile, Jamie would experience attraction towards someone of the same sex, like her. So, in summary, heterosexuality is a sexual orientation where individuals are primarily attracted to people of the opposite sex. Homosexuality refers to the romantic or sexual attraction between individuals of the same gender or is commonly called as BL or GL. It is an aspect of human diversity that has been existing throughout history and various cultures. So next, a lesbian refers to a woman who is romantically or sexually attracted to other women. So let's consider an example. Imagine two women named Emma and Sarah. Emma is a lesbian, which means she experiences feelings of love, attraction, and desire exclusively towards other women like Sarah. It is important to remember that being a lesbian is just one way that people can express their sexuality. Just like there are heterosexual people who are attracted to the individuals of the opposite gender, there are also homosexual individuals, like lesbians, who are attracted to individuals of the same gender. LGBTQ stands for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer or questioning. These are words that we use to describe different types of people when it comes to love and relationships. So, gay and lesbian was already tackled earlier, so we have to move on in bisexual. Bisexual is someone who is attracted or have a romantic feelings for either a boy or a girl. Next is the transgender. It is a word we use to describe someone who feels like they were born in the wrong body. For example, a boy who feels like he should have been born a girl. This person might choose to transition, which means they make changes to their appearance or take certain steps to feel more comfortable in their own skin. The last one is the queer or questioning. The word queer is an umbrella term that can refer to anyone who doesn't fit into the traditional categories of being straight or gay. It can also mean someone who is still figuring out their own feelings and is unsure about their own sexual orientation. People who are questioning may be exploring who they are and whom they are attracted to. Now, it is important to remember that each person's experience is unique, and being LGBTQ is a normal and natural way to be. It's about being true to yourself and embracing who you are no matter what. It is also essential to understand that everyone deserves respect and kindness, regardless of their sexual orientation or gender identity. So, before we start in our next topic, first let's make sure we understand the words individually, which is the libidwist asexual. Libidwist means a person who experiences and has desires regarding their sexual feelings. Asexual means a person who does not experience sexual attraction toward others. Now, when we combine these two words, libidwist asexual describes a person who does not experience sexual attraction but still has some form of sexual feelings or desires, like having a libido. It might sound a little confusing, so let me provide you with an example. Imagine you have a friend named John. John is a libidinous asexual. This means that even though John does not feel sexually attracted to other people, they might still have some physical responses or feelings, like feeling aroused. However, it's important to note that these feelings are not directed towards someone specific. Think of it this way. You know how sometimes when we eat our favorite dessert, it makes us feel really happy and excited. Well, for a libidinous sexual person, they might experience similar excitement or sensations, but in a sexual context. It's like their body might be saying, "Hey, I might feel something here," even though there is no specific person they are attracted to. Being a libidinous asexual is just one way in which some individuals understand and experience their own sexuality. And it's completely normal for people to experience different types of attraction or have unique feelings towards sexuality. So next is the monosexual. Mono means one or single, and sexual relates to feelings or attraction towards someone. Example of these are people who are attracted to the opposite gender, and also gays and lesbian, as men only likes men and women only likes women. So as I have said earlier, some people might feel attracted to both boys and girls, and we call them bisexual. And that is not under the monosexual. And some people may not feel any romantic attraction for anyone, and we call them asexual. So we have learned that monosexual means being attracted to only one gender. It's like having a favorite food or color, but instead it's about who we might have special feelings for. Non-libidinous asexual. It means people who do not experience that desire or drive for sexual activity at all. So let me give you an example to help us understand this a little better. Imagine you have a friend named Lexa. Now Lexa is a non-libidinous asexual. She is just as happy and fulfilled without sexual feelings as someone who does experience them. She may love hugging, being close to others, cuddling, or having deep emotional connections, but she doesn't feel the same urge to have intimate activities as some other people might. Being asexual, whether you experience libido or not, is just a natural variation in human sexuality. It's important for us to remember that people are all different and unique. Some people feel comfortable expressing their sexuality while others may not. So to sum it all up, a non-libidinous asexual is a person who doesn't experience sexual attraction or feel the desire or drive for sexual activity. Just like how we all have different interests,
feelings, and attraction, it's important to respect and understand those differences in each other. The omnisexuality. It is a way someone can identify themselves when it comes to their attraction to other people. Just like some people are attracted to only one gender, like boys who like girls or girls who like boys. Omnisexual people can be attracted to many different genders. So, for example, let's imagine a little scenario to help illustrate this better. Imagine a person named Alex. Now, Alex might be omnisexual, which means they can feel attracted to people of any gender. So, whether someone is a boy, a girl, or identifies as non binary or any other gender, Alex may find them attractive. It's kind of like having a big heart that can fit many different types of people within it. So now let's think about it like ice cream flavors. You know how some people have a favorite ice cream flavor like chocolate or vanilla? Well, omnisexual people might be more like a person who enjoys all the flavors equally. They can appreciate the unique qualities and taste of different flavors, just like Alex appreciates and finds attraction in the unique qualities of people, no matter their gender. So, to sum it up, omnisexuality is when someone can feel romantic or sexual attraction to people of any gender. It's like having a big heart that can appreciate the qualities of many ice cream flavors. And just like we respect everyone's favorite ice cream flavor, it's important to respect and accept everyone's feeling and identities. So you know what it means when someone says they have a crush on someone, right? Well, panromantic people are just like that. Except they can have feelings and be romantically attracted to people of any gender. Panromantic means that a person can fall in love with someone regardless of whether they are a boy, a girl, or don't identify with any gender at all. So while most people might only feel romantic attraction towards boys or girls, a panromantic person could feel that special romantic feeling towards boys, girls, non-binary individuals, or any other gender. It's like the non-panromantic person's heart doesn't just see genders, it sees love and connections with lots of different people. Same with the panromanticosexual, pansexual are terms used to describe individuals who have the capacity to be attracted to or form romantic relationships with people regardless of their gender identity or biological sex. While these terms may appear similar, they refer to different aspects of attractions. Pansexuality is a sexual orientation where individuals are capable of being attracted to others regardless of their gender identity or biological sex. Pansexual individuals can experience sexual attraction to people who identify as cisgender or identifying with the sex assigned at birth, or transgender, irrespective of their gender identity or expression. In summary, pansexuality describes the sexual attraction someone feels toward others based on their gender identity or biological sex, whereas panromanticism refers to the romantic attraction individuals feel for others without consideration of their gender identity or biological sex. Our next topic is about polysexual. Polysexual is when someone feels attracted to many genders but not necessarily all of them. It's like when you have a friend and that friend is identified as polysexual. It means that your friend can feel attracted to boys, girls, and non-binary people. It is like having special romantic or emotional feelings toward people of different genders. It's a bit like when you have a favorite flavor of ice cream. Some people like only one flavor, while others might enjoy many different flavors. In a similar way, when someone identifies as polysexual, they may find themselves attracted to more than just one gender. This what makes them unique and wonderful, just like all of us are.
Polysexual and homosexual are both terms used to describe alternative sexual orientations, but they have distinct differences. Polysexuality focuses on sexual attraction to multiple genders. It recognizes and includes attraction to various gender identities, embracing diversity and fluidity. Homosexuality challenges the notion of defined sexual orientation altogether. It rejects being categorized or labeled, advocating for fluidity and striving for individual authenticity. Polysexuals recognize and embrace their specific attraction to multiple genders, accepting the labels as part of their identity. Homosexuals, on the other hand, reject the idea of being labeled within predetermined sexual orientations. They see labels as oppressive or limiting and prefer not to be defined by them. In cultural contexts, polysexuality is more commonly discussed within LGBTQ communities and is seen as a legitimate sexual orientation. It has gained recognition over time and is part of the broader spectrum of non-monosexual orientations. Homosexuality is a less commonly used term and is more associated with academic and culture critique. It has accumulated less mainstream recognition and may be less known outside certain circles. In summary, while both polysexual and homosexual challenge traditional notions of sexuality, embrace fluidity, polysexuality primarily focuses on attraction to multiple genders, whereas homosexuality is more concerned with rejecting labels and categories altogether. Let's talk about something called passing. Now, passing is a term commonly used when someone's physical appearance matches the gender they identify with, also known as being cisgender or straight. So, for example, if someone was assigned male at birth, which means that when they were born, the doctor said it's a boy. However, as they grow older, they realize that they feel more comfortable and identify themselves as a girl. This is called being transgender, which means their gender identity doesn't match the sex they were assigned at birth. And when that someone takes some steps, such as wearing clothes typically associated with girls, growing their hair longer, and using makeup, their appearance starts to match what people commonly associate with being a girl. This is called passing. Passing can happen for people who are straight as well if their physical appearance matches society's expectation of what it means to be straight. In conclusion, passing refers to when someone's physical appearance aligns with the gender they identify with, whether it's being cisgender or straight. It can be significant for some people, helping them feel comfortable and accepted in the society. However, remember that a person's gender identity is valid regardless of whether they pass or not, and we should always be respectful and supportive of their individuality. So now let's talk about the two important terms, which are the queer and questioning. First, let's talk about the term queer. Queer is an umbrella term that includes sexual orientation and gender identities that are different from what society traditionally think of as a typical or normal. Queer is a word that can be used to describe people who identify as lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, non-binary, and other identities. So imagine a big box that can hold many different things inside. The word queer is like that box, which includes all these different orientation and identities. It is a way for individuals to describe themselves if they don't feel like any specific label fits them perfectly. So let's talk about the romantic attraction and romantic orientation. First is the romantic attraction. Have you ever felt a special bond or a strong desire to be close to someone? Maybe you feel butterflies in your stomach or think about them a lot. These are some signs of the romantic attraction. It's that special feeling we experience towards someone, wanting to spend time with them, hold their hand, or even give them a special gift. So for example is if you have a best friend.
and you have fun playing games, talking about your favorite things, and you always feel happy when she or he is around. Then one day you start noticing that spending time with them makes you feel different. Your heart beats faster and you want to be even closer to them. This is a sign that romantic attraction might be developing. Now let's dive into romantic orientation. This term describes who we may feel romantically attracted to over time. Just like we have different favorite colors or food, our romantic orientation is unique to each of us. It helps us understand whether we are drawn to people of the opposite gender, same gender, or both genders. So for instance, let's say you have a friend named Sam. Sam is a boy and you really enjoy spending time with him. You feel that special romantic attraction towards Sam. This could mean that your romantic orientation is towards boys, and that's perfectly normal and natural. On the other hand, some of you might feel a romantic connection with a girl or someone who doesn't identify strictly as a boy or a girl. So in conclusion, romantic attraction is that special feeling we experience towards someone where we feel butterflies in our stomach and desire to be close to them. Meanwhile, romantic orientation refers to who we may feel romantically attracted to over time, whether it's the opposite gender, same gender, or both genders. It is important to respect and acknowledge our own feelings and orientation as well as those of the others. So our next topic is about sapiosexual. So we all know how people can find different things attractive about someone, right? Some people like the way someone looks, some people like their personality, and some people like their sense of humor. Well, sapiosexual is a special term that describes people who find intelligence and intelligence alone very, very attractive. So it is like you're in a class and your teacher asks a really interesting question. Now, most of the class might feel curious or interested at that moment, but a sapiosexual person might feel something extra like a little crush. They might think, wow, that person is so smart and I find that really attractive. So you see, being sapiosexual means that a person's mind, their intelligence, and their ability to learn and understand things is what really catches someone's attention and makes them feel attracted. It's like their brain is what they find most fascinating about a person. So, let's talk about some important concepts related to relationships and personal feelings, while keeping it simple and understandable for everyone. First is the sexual attraction. Sexual attraction is a feeling that some people have towards others, which can make them feel drawn to or interested in being in a romantic or sexual way with someone. For example, you might feel sexually attracted to someone because you think they are nice, funny, or they have qualities that you find attractive. So next is the sex averse. Some people might feel sex averse, which means they may not feel comfortable or interested in engaging in sexual activities at any point in their lives. It's like having a preference or feeling that it's just not something they want to do. For instance, imagine if someone likes spending time with their partner in other non-sexual ways, like going for a walk or watching movies together, but they don't want to engage in any intimate activities. Third is the sex favorable. On the other hand, some individuals might feel sex favorable, which means they have positive feelings or interest towards sexual activities. They may find pleasure and enjoyment in engaging activities considered sexual. For example, imagine if two people in a relationship both feel sex favorable and they genuinely enjoy being physically intimate with each other. Then there's sex indifferent. Some people might feel sex indifferent, which means they don't have strong positive or negative feelings about sex. They might not necessarily seek it out or avoid it, but they can be in a relationship where sex is not a significant part of their connection. An example could be a couple who enjoy many other aspects of their relationship and are content with minimal sexual activities. Next is the sex orientation or sexuality. Now, sex orientation or sexuality refers to a person's sexual preferences or attraction. It helps describe who someone is physically, emotionally, or romantically attracted to. For instance, someone can be attracted to people of the opposite sex, which is the heterosexual orientation, people of the same sex or the homosexual orientation, or people of multiple genders. And the sex repulse. We have sex repulse, which means that someone might very strong negative feeling towards sexual activities. They might feel disgusted, uncomfortable, or anxious when thinking participating in any sexual acts. For example, someone might find the idea of engaging in sexual activities very distressing and choose to avoid it altogether. So remember, everyone's feelings and preferences about relationships and sexual activities are personal and unique. It is important to respect and understand each other, allowing everyone to make their own choices without judgment.
34. Scoliosexual. A sexual orientation that describes those who are sexually attracted to people with non-cisgender gender identities, such as people who are non-binary, genderqueer, or trans. 45. Spectrasexual. A term that describes people who are sexually or romantically attracted to multiple or varied sexes, genders, and gender identities, but not necessarily all or any. And lastly, number 46 is straight, also known as heterosexual. Straight describes people who experience sexual, romantic, or emotional attraction to individual of the opposite gender or a different gender. And people who identify as cisgender, a person whose gender identity and or expression generally aligns with the typical expectation of their sex aligned at birth, and transgender can be straight.
And that's all for discussion. Thank you for listening and have a good day.